Hi everybody, we are already midway through the Scarlet and Violet set. With Stellar Miracle just recently released, we're hitting the midway mark. Usually we're expecting about 12 expansions, with obviously these side expansions that come with it. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go over the first half real quick and look at the top 5 currently, just so maybe in the future, once we're done with the other half of this series, we can go back and see if they still stand, are they still worth getting, and maybe what happened. Maybe we could talk about why it's no longer the same in the future. But I just thought it'd be a good idea to look at. I'm also willing to do a video for the Sword and Shield era, but I feel as if people already have a good idea as to what is valuable in that expansion. Sure, there might be some hidden gems, some sets that people are not looking at that might be worth something in the future, but I think that most people already know. But still, if you don't and you'd like to know or you'd want to hear my thoughts about it, leave me a comment, let me know. I already took someone's feedback from the last video. I apply it. Hopefully we're making our videos better and better every time. So looking at the top 5 spots right now, number 5 would be Crimson Haze. And I'm looking at the value of the set in its entirety, primarily looking at where it's standing right now. This could really fluctuate at any given day. I take this really lightly, and especially something to note, when we include Stellar Miracle, this already gets pushed out. Are there some good cards in there to consider? Most definitely. But is the set something that you might want to buy en masse? I wouldn't say so. So I won't touch on it too much more, but if you're looking at the top 2, here you go. Some honorable mentions would also be the Eevee. Why not? Who doesn't love Eevee? And of course, you want to get your Hisuian and Growlithe. If you have one, you gotta get the other. Just makes sense. I'll also mention that Greninja EX is incredibly popular. The English version is doing stellar right now. It's not really having the same impact in the Japanese market. Might be worth considering getting just in singles, but that's really up to you guys to decide. Now, the number 4 spot is something to consider because it is getting closer to the end of its print cycle. Most Pokemon sets have about 2 years of print cycles, then they slow down drastically unless Pokemon Company says, screw everybody's collection, let's just print it anyways, right? We've seen this with Crown Zenith going on and on and on, but eventually they're gonna have to stop printing that set. Violet EX came out in January 19th of 2023, so if you look at it, you got about 5 months before it probably starts to really slow down its print run, if it hasn't already. This isn't a set a lot of people talk about, and it does have some really nice, beautiful cards in it. I think it might fall in more value, realistically speaking, just primarily because Miraidon is a popular Pokemon. It is a competitive Pokemon, but it makes me wonder if it will be enough to hold up the set in value in the future once it's no longer competitively viable, right? When I look at something like Charizard, where the Charizard cards will almost always hold up a set in value if it's already a $100 card, like the 151 version, it usually stays in that price value. It doesn't shift or variate too much more. Whereas with Miraidon, I don't know if that'll still be the case. I know that maybe it's a cooler Pokemon for the younger generation. My son loves this guy. Really for you guys to decide. Currently, value-wise, it would be the number 4 spot. Again, pretty sure that's going to change once everything's all out. The number 3 spot actually is a weird set, and I'll only talk about it briefly because it's carried strictly by one card. And that is a Clayburst set, which is carried strictly by Iono. That's the number 1 card in the entire set, and it is very expensive if you get it. If you get this card, you got money, right? I'm not saying it's Moonbreon money, but it's money. And the number 3 and 4 spot help it out a bit, which is Chi-Yu and Tikatan. They provide some extra value to the Clayburst set, but it's primarily carried by Iono. And for those of you that are really paying attention, I skipped number 2 because it's also...
Wait for it. Here it comes.
Iono. Yep, it's also Iono, so the number 1 and 2 card spot belong to Iono. If you don't get an Iono when you're getting this set, you are not getting anything. Now, if it's not obvious what the current number 1 and 2 spot in this set currently are, you must be new, or you're just not really following the market, and that's okay. Regardlessly, welcome. It's a nice community. The number 2 spot goes to Shiny Treasures EX. No doubt that this set is jam-packed full of amazing cards, most of which are staples currently in the meta. It allows a lot of people to deck out their decks, which is something a lot of Pokemon players love to do anyways, because Pokemon cards are usually not too expensive. Now, of course, I'm talking about primarily the Japanese market, and that's just more so if you're trying to get the nice, beautiful, shiny variations that exist in this set, which you can get at my store. For this set, the next set, you can just check out the store, guys. Now, currently, this set is really easy to get your hands on, so I wouldn't be too panicked or worried about getting your hands on it now. But this is one of those sets where you kind of didn't buy into it too much, and then in about a year or two, when it's double or triple the price because it's no longer printing, you're gonna kick yourself in the face. So if you like collecting the singles, now would be your time to really buy those singles or buy the boxes while they're cheap. A lot of people like to make the mistake of, unfortunately, buying these things once they're very expensive. The FOMO kicks in and you feel like you need to. I don't know how many people bought 151 at $200, right? Price range wise, it does hold a lot of value in the set itself. And I think this set will age a little bit more like Shiny Star V in the long run. Maybe not as lucrative, but it will still age pretty well, I'd imagine. As for the number 1 spot, I'm sure everybody knows what set this is going to be. It shouldn't come as a surprise, and really there's not a lot to say about it that hasn't already been said, right? 151, this set comes with Master Ball Hollows, really beautiful cards, and it's just nostalgic to a lot of people. I really don't even think that they could do the same thing again with the Johto version and have the same level of success. I just don't think that the Pokemon Company would get that same amount of love. I do think it would be still incredibly popular, but just not the same level of impact. But I'm telling you now, I would love a Johto version. I was more fond of the Johto Pokemon for some reason or the other, but that's just me. I've talked about this already a couple times in multiple videos, so I'm just gonna make this quick. It's still relatively cheap, guys. This is a very dangerous set to dance around, so I've seen a lot of people's strategies where they kind of buy a little and then invest heavy once they see big falls and stuff like that. It's really up to you to decide how you want to approach it. If you're just a collector, now would be a good time to buy some to collect, and if you just love to open up Japanese Pokemon sets, now would also be a really good time to do that. But if you're looking to try and catch it at its low, you probably already missed that window. I don't know if we'll ever see it go that low again. I'm going to always remember saying this, just because if it does ever crash again, I'm gonna laugh at myself, and I'll probably look at this clip all the time and just laugh, and thinking that they wouldn't do that again. In my next video, I'll cover Stellar Miracle just a bit, not too much, because currently I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I actually think that for just a standalone set right now, it's okay, and I'll talk about it why in the next video. But for now, I did just want to cover the top 5 sets currently in the Scarlet and Violet era. Again, take it with a grain of salt. A lot can change, and a lot will change in the coming of months. We already have a lot of phenomenal sets announced. If you're going to Paradise, personally, I know hasn't fully been revealed, but I'm excited for it. I already bought some. I'm not going to waste any time. Yes, it's not available right now. I'm saying I already pre-ordered some. But anyways, I'm excited for that set, and I know a lot of people are excited for the future Rocket set, the future Gym Trainer set that they've announced, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff incoming. I can only imagine that a lot of that stuff and some of the newer sets will push out. Maybe the bottom 2 currently. But that's just my thoughts. I'd love to see what happens in the future. As always, guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. What are your top 5? Are you buying into something different? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. See you laters.